In one small region of Nazi-occupied Poland, a fake typhus outbreak helped save thousands of people from forced labor or death. Dr. Eugene Lazowski started the epidemic in and around Rozwadow, which is located 240 kilometers south of Warsaw. The fake disease kept 8,000 villagers, including a small number of hiding Jews, relatively safe for more than 2 years by making the Nazis quarantine a dozen nearby villages. Lazowski was 26 years old when Germany invaded Poland, serving as a second lieutenant in his country's army. After being captured by the Nazis, the Warsaw-educated doctor was imprisoned in a POW camp, from which he escaped. Lazowski relocated to Rozwadow after making his getaway to work for the Polish Red Cross. At that point, Poland had established Jewish ghettos all over the country, one of which was situated next to Lazowski's backyard and housed 400 Jews. The devout Catholic resided in a home with his wife and young daughter. During the final months of the ghetto's existence, Lazowski secretly treated Jews and provided medical supplies. White rags tied to his backyard fence were used for communication. He was also active in the Home Army, Poland's resistance movement. In July of 1942, the Rozwadow ghetto was liquidated by the Germans. Many Jews were killed in the main square and others murdered in surrounding forests. Some were taken for forced labor, with a concentration camp set up in town. Around the time of the ghetto's liquidation, a medical school friend of Lazowski's, physician Stanislaw Machelwicz, stumbled upon a way to make someone test positive for typhus without having the disease. A bacterial strain of Proteus, dead epidemic typhus, was injected into the patient, who would henceforth test positive. Lazowski and Machelwicz immediately realized they were onto something important. The Germans were terrified of typhus, a lice-borne illness known to decimate army regiments in times of war. The plague had not been seen in Germany for 25 years, so soldiers had no natural immunity. Anti-Jewish propaganda put out by Germany portrayed Jews as carriers of typhus-infected lice. In 1942, an estimated 750 Poles died of typhus each day. Any Jew who tested positive for typhus was shot on the spot and his home set on fire. Poles who tested positive were sent to quarantine. During their first 2 months of clandestine activity, Lazowski and Machelwicz injected many villagers with their fake typhus, telling the flu-stricken patients it was protein stimulation therapy for their illness. Some patients were sent to doctors in other villages after receiving the injection, where they would inevitably test positive for typhus. The co-conspirators were careful to mimic the pace of an actual outbreak. During this tense period, Lazowski carried a cyanide pill with him, he later said. The prevalence of typhus cases confirmed by German labs was alarming. After 2 months, a quarantine zone around Rozwadow and 12 surrounding villages was declared, effectively keeping 8,000 inhabitants safe from arrest or deportation. Although the quarantine zone remained in place until liberation, the secret operation almost fell apart toward the end of 1943. The lack of deaths in the region did not match the number of typhus infections, and the Gestapo sent an investigative committee to check up on the physicians. Lazowski used Oskar Schindler-like tactics to fob them off, keeping the vodka, kielbasa, and music flowing during their visit. Enjoying the party, senior members of the commission sent younger doctors to collect blood samples from sick-looking patients, all of whom had been given the bacterial strain that mimicked typhus. The German doctors did not look for any symptoms among the patients, terrified of contracting the disease. Toward the end of the occupation of Poland, a German soldier tipped off Lazowski that he was about to be arrested by the Gestapo. According to the soldier, Lazowski had been spotted treating members of the Home Army. With the Russian army across the river from town, the Nazis were taking their final revenge on the people of Poland. Lazowski had been spared so far because of his typhus work, but, the soldier warned, his arrest was imminent. The Lazowski family fled town just before the Gestapo arrived. For 13 years, Lazowski lived in fear that his wartime activities would be uncovered, leading to retaliation from Soviet authorities in Poland. In 1958, Lazowski emigrated to Chicago with his wife and daughter. After a decade of studies, he became a professor of pediatrics at the University of Illinois. Continuing to practice medicine, he never told anyone about his secret wartime campaign. Likewise, only after liberation would Lazowski learn that his parents had hidden 2 Jewish families in their own home. A few years before his death in 2006, Lazowski returned to Poland to film a still unreleased documentary. In Rozwadow, along with Machelwicz, the men were greeted with days of celebrations and emotional reunions. Lazowski was 87 years old, and he could at last be at ease in the country he fought for. "I was not able to fight with a gun or a sword," Lazowski told People, "but I found a way to scare the Germans.